what I want to do is ask the question, what have you achieved? Who's done what? What have you achieved? Have you written a book recently? Have you won an award recently? Have you launched a program or your website, or what have you done just recently that we'd love to celebrate with you? Please pop it in the chat box and let us know, what have you achieved, and what successes have you been working on or building towards that you would like to now share? Because this webinar is all about your time to shine, your time to get out there and be seen and noticed. So we want to know, what have you done? Please pop it in the box. Have you launched a website or a book or won awards, got some publicity, maybe a speaking gig? What have you done that we can shout from the rooftops a little bit about?
Shout from the top.
So what have we got? Kerry, latest book, currently nominated for 2 book awards. Woohoo!
That's pretty cool.
That is awesome. I know we were talking just about book awards the other day, weren't we, Annette? One of the biggest things is you look through your book and you go, oh shit, there's spelling mistakes in there, or there's something that I better not put it forwards, and all the self-doubt starts to creep in, doesn't it?
John's onboarded 3 new clients in 14 days.
Holy moly.
That is the ripper effort, John. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And Angela's written a book, won a silver award for New South Wales Coach of the Year, and launched a new website.
Wow.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Do you actually sleep, Angela, or is that, just...
I just thought that too. And the amazing Brenda came runner-up in the Osmompreneur Award for Business Pivot. We just had the Osmompreneur Awards. So lots of people very excited about that.
Sally Latham has put in here, nothing yet. I challenge you on that, Sally. I'm sure you've achieved stuff. But yeah, just in case you win in a couple of weeks, I know we've got all our fingers and toes crossed for all the award winners at the moment that are in all sorts of different awards. But there must be something, Sally. There must be something. You must have worked on your social media or given a presentation or something that you've done that you can be certainly telling the world about. So isn't that funny, Annette? Often we forget, don't we? Even the little things that we do, and you just forget that you've done them.
That's where your calendar comes in handy. And going back and having a look over the things that you've done, because I think sometimes we minimize our achievements and our accomplishments because they're just part of our day-to-day. Like I was having a conversation with someone yesterday about writing a media release, and I went, oh yeah, I did this, and she was like, really? And I'm like, oh, I didn't really think it was that impressive. But quite often what we don't think is impressive to our audience is something that really helps connect with them. So I think sometimes we're not the best people to ask what we've accomplished. It's probably better to ask people around Sally what she's accomplished.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rachel, even the way you've written this, I wrote a couple of award submissions that got through to finalist stage, that little thing. Rachel, goodness gracious, that's amazing. Just a couple of award submissions. We know what it takes to write award submissions. So to do a couple is fantastic. And the fact that you've got through to finalist stage, it's like, oh my goodness, that is so awesome. Who else? Arapana won Osmompreneur Gold Award for B2B services and bronze for Multicultural Award. Well done, Arapana. Well done. That is also, Osmompreneurs are not easy to win. So well done, winning a gold. That's fantastic. And a bronze as well.
I know, but even for those people who make the finals in awards, I mean, like the Osmompreneur Awards this year, I think had 2,200, 2,500 submissions. It was like a record year. And only 500 people made it through to the finalists. So I had a lot of people say, oh, everybody gets through that. No, they don't. It's a big deal to get through to the finalist stage of any award.
Absolutely. Julia Crocker won first place as Business Making a Difference and voted by the people for that in the Osmompreneur was. Listen, popularity votes are fantastic, Julia. It really does. Everyone says, oh, it's really easy to win People's Choice Awards. It's actually not. It really does. It really shows if you can win a People's Choice Award, you're connected, you're networked, and people think highly of you to do that. So well done. That's fantastic. I love that. Brenda, runner-up in Osmompreneur. Yes, we've absolutely business pivoting. That's fantastic. Kathy Tate published a best-selling book, Women Gone Wild. Oh, I like the idea of that. Kathy, please make sure you share that in the Rocket Launch Your Business Facebook group. We'd love to take a look at your book and look at reviewing it for you. So please pop it into there, the Rocket Launcher Business Facebook group. If you don't have the link, let us know and we can send you that.
Sally did survive homeschooling. I think that deserves a medal in itself. I homeschooled for 12 months, not in the midst of a pandemic, and that was hard enough. I'd hate to do it in the midst of a pandemic.
And your son survived that, which is even more surprising.
Yes, well, he's lucky. There's a few times I thought about locking him in a cupboard.
The Kathy also won Osmompreneur Bronze for Women Will Change the World. Plus, she's speaking at 2 upcoming events and finalists and just some other awards. Goodness gracious, Kathy, you're another one who doesn't sleep. Yeah, Angela's a vampire. She's agreed with us. She doesn't sleep. She's too busy. She's too busy building her empire, which is awesome. Kim, of course, has her Audiobook of the Year award, which is awesome. I didn't realize she'd won Audiobook of the Year as well, Kim. That's great. Gold and Silver Women in Business awards and 3 Bronze International Stevie Awards. It was so funny when we met the other day, sort of flippantly. Oh, yeah, I won those 3 awards. 3! A three-peat.
A three-peat. I was trying to remember what you called it.
A three-per.
A three-peat or a three-peat or a triple? What's a hat trick? Is that 3?
Hat trick is 3 as well. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely. The 3 International Stevie Awards is amazing. So that's great. Definitely need to tell. So this is great, guys. Honest Mompreneur Awards, Sally surviving lockdown. That's brilliant. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing this. So what I want us to do very quickly, do you know how to give a round of applause on a Zoom call, guys? Has everyone been on a Zoom call where everyone's got a big round of applause? You know what to do? Everyone's looking at me very strangely. You do this with your hands, much like for the hearing impaired and the blind people. So do this with your hands. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to do a screen grab and catch us all doing that, because as Annette quite rightly pointed out just a couple of seconds ago, unfortunately, we don't do enough of it. We don't do enough of this celebrating our success. So let me just grab the screen in front of me. I want everyone to give a big round of applause like this, and I'm going to do a screen grab. Are we ready, guys? I'm just going to get my screen ready and see if I can do a screen grab. Congratulations, everybody. You're winners. Woohoo! Awesome. Great stuff. Thank you. And I'll post that and share that, and you can tag yourself in that on social media. So I don't know why we do it, Annette. Why do we win these things and then go, oh, you're just that thing over there, and we forget to tell people, we forget to even give ourselves a pat on the back? What do you think it is?
Well, I think that we kind of underestimate our abilities. And I don't know about you, but I grew up in the 70s and 80s where I was told not to show off and not to big note myself. And I think moving into, the 2000s is that we, I don't think Tall Poppy's gone away, but we are now in front of people more often with social media. And, who wants to get trolled? Because there's some nasty people out there. So, yeah. But, I would say that there's probably some deep psychological issues, not that anybody's got psychological issues, but there's neural pathways in there that stop us from doing that from previous experiences. Or, I find that with a lot of women. I work with a lot of women telling their stories that, they've been taught, like I just said, not to put themselves forward and just to put their head down and their bum up and get on working. So we want to change that. We're on a mission to, encourage people to celebrate their wins, which is why you're here, because we're going to give you some tips on how to do that.
Absolutely. So this is what we're going to cover today. We're going to go through, how do you overcome that to start off with? I'm going to share some tips to help you with that. But what sort of stories you should be sharing, how do you tell those stories? When's the best time to be talking about your successes? And then how do you do it without that feeling of being over the top and big-headed? And it's funny, I was talking with Kim Cousins the other day when we met about our culture and how our culture has such an influence on us. In Australia, it's very much about mateship, and you don't stand out from the rest. You make sure you're with your mates, and that tall poppy syndrome comes from a long-term culture here. And of course, in New Zealand, where I come from, the background to that culture is pioneership, but it was very English, and you don't get outside your station. You stick with where you're supposed to be. You don't step outside of that. So how do you do it without feeling like you're being big-headed? Where do you share, and what channels can you use to get the best bang for your buck if you're out there, because there's so much noise at the moment? And how many times can you tell the same story? I think a lot of people often go, oh, I couldn't tell that story. I've already told people that. And it's not the case. So we'll talk about how you can tell them at different times. And then what do you do to get media attention and engagement, which is really like Annette's zone. We'll be in the zone with Annette talking about how you can leverage that. So before we get into it, let's all just be a bit honest. And I'd love you to, add into the chat box what you think. Who has written something online, like a Facebook post or a LinkedIn post or something, or even just something you're going to send out there on an email about your success, about something you've achieved, and you really debated and worried and eventually trashed it or deleted it and went, no, I can't do that. Tell us in the chat box, what are you most worried about? If you talk about yourself, if you share your success, what worries you the most? What makes you delete that post? What makes you hold back and go, oh, I don't know if I should do this. It doesn't feel right. So I'd love to know what makes you worry the most about, putting yourself out there and sharing your story.
I used to worry that people would think that that I was a show off. I remember my mum saying to me, don't be too big for your britches. And it was like, so always kind of, that I was never patted on the back for my achievements. It was just like, yeah, okay, move on. You don't be too big for your britches. So I know when I first started in small business and realizing that if it was going to be, it was up to me, that I had to get over that reticence to share because nobody else was going to pat me on the back. And it's interesting. It's like there's a lot of people going, my mum said, be seen and not heard. People are sick of hearing about it. People think I'm showing off. Who the fuck is she? And isn't it a horrible culture that we live in this country where it's all about mateship? And the one thing that we find really hard to do is support those people who are succeeding and achieving.
Yeah, it's really sad. And thank you guys for being so honest and sharing that with us. All of that stuff, it really is a question of, working out what's important to you, I guess. You've worked really hard for those successes that you've achieved. And you're right, Annette, I love that. I've written that down. If it's going to be, it's up to me. It so much is when you are in small business, you are your own best cheer squad. There's no one else going to do it for you. Unless you've got Annette and I doing it for you. Which happens all the time. But yeah, that fear of judgment, Kim, absolutely. And Brenda, that people will think I'm bragging. What's wrong with bragging? When did that become a bad thing? I think it's something we can learn from the Yanks. The Americans are so good at talking up themselves, almost to the point that they make us a bit sick with it, to be honest with you. But yeah, showing off. What is wrong with being a show off? Maybe you should be showing off. You're doing amazing things.
See,
if you
this
look
is
at
where I wear my AirPod, because then I can listen to it and then go to my room.
Iris, lovely to see you, Iris. I'm just going
to... sorry. We can hear you. I think, and Carrie Howard's made a really good point there, is that there are some professions where you're not allowed to self-promote, that you can get into trouble. So being clever about how you can shine the light on, I think it's also defining what self-promotion means in terms of your profession, or Facebook groups that you're a part of, or, the rules and regulations that are out there around that, and also how to come across without sounding like you are being a jackass.
Yeah, there's definitely ways to do it, and we'll be sharing those with you today. But one of the things I wanted to make sure that everyone understands is not everybody is going to like you in this world. I've got good old Taylor Swift singing away in the back. Haters are going to hate. And it's okay. You're not there to people please. You're not there to please everybody in the world. Not everybody's going to like you, and that's okay. Because 50% of the people might hate you, but guess what? 50% of people love you. And that's who you're there for. You're there for the people that are your clients. They're your audience. They're your affiliations. They're your partners. They're your tribe. They're the people that are there to support you. And how often has it been when you've hesitated to post something and then eventually you've got that courage and you've done it, and you get these fabulous comments come back, and it feels great to have people say high five, well done, and so on. And the way we're going to be talking about it today, as Annette says, it's the way that you do it. and thanking the people who have helped you get there is a great way to do that. And bringing other people into that zone with you, and, you know, sharing the fact that you're so impressed with the fact that you've got this great support and you've got an amazing team and all that sort of thing. So haters are going to hate, guys, and it's always going to be trolls out there. I don't get trolls. Annette gets trolls. I don't get trolls. I don't know why.
I get trolls.
Do you?
No, I don't.
Oh, I thought you did. I thought you had a
No,
couple.
I don't. I think people are too scared.
Yeah.
I have had trolls.
That's fair
You
enough.
have trolls, Kerry?
I have had, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's no, I don't. I don't know why, because I do put myself out there a lot. But no, my kids reckon it's because I'm scary.
Maybe we do, but we just don't notice them because we're far too positive and we haven't got time for negativity in our lives. So, yeah. But haters are going to hate, and there's going to be keyboard warriors. The one I'm really scared of is the grammar Nazi, because I'm dyslexic. And I know I'm going to post something and someone's going to just forget the great things that we've achieved and focus on the fact that I've spelt something wrong. And it'll be like, oh, really? But, get a life. It's all right. No one died. It's fine. So the thing is, guys, you need to, when you get to this point where you are talking about self-promotion, and we are going to go through how to do it well, you all need to realize that you are entrepreneurs. Every single one of you on the call today is an amazing entrepreneur. You've started a business, or you've started a movement, you've created a community, you've done these amazing things. And the fear center in your brain, your amygdala, is what is trying to keep you safe. It's the thing that stops you from talking about yourself and sharing your successes and your achievements. And it's just trying to keep you safe because of those fears that you have of, being judged or big noting yourself and so on. The good news is, as entrepreneurs, you've already overpowered your amygdala. You've already overpowered the fear center in your brain. Do you remember when you started in business and your brain was telling you, don't do it, it's going to be too risky, you're going to need clients, you have to pay the bills, you're going to have to get homeschooling for your kids, all that sort of stuff, but you still did it. You did it anyway, and you're doing things every day as a business owner and a leader and an entrepreneur that is overcoming that fear center in your brain. And there could be risks, and there's things that might not work, but you're doing it anyway. So the good news is, guys, you've already got superhuman brains. You can already overpower the fear center in your brain, so that maybe when you get to this point where you are thinking about sharing your success and you have this fear or this worry, just use your superpowers to go, look, what's the worst that could happen? So here's a couple of tips if you want to write them down, or you can screen grab this if you want to. How to overcome the itty bitty shitty committee. Those little voices in your head that, tell you, oh, I don't know whether I should do it. I'm a bit worried about what people think and so on. Number one, breathe. Just take a big deep breath and go, it's going to be okay. Then think about the purpose. Why is it that you're sharing this? Is it just an ego trip? Then maybe it's probably not the right time that you should be doing it. Is it just to big note yourself? Well, that's what it's going to look like. If the purpose of it is to draw attention to your business or your cause or your mission or your vision or your team or the success that you've had because you want more clients, better partners, to create a bigger impact, to grow your business, to get on stage, to write books, to do all this. So if there's a purpose behind what you're doing, it will help you overcome those worst imagined fears that you might have. And you could even do that. You could imagine the worst. What's the worst that could happen? I'm going to share a success. What's the worst that could happen? One person picks up that I've spelt something wrong. Whoop-dee. One person has a go at me. Whoop-dee. 20 people are going to celebrate with me, and 60 people might even get on board and celebrate as well, and 100 people might share. Who knows? But what's the worst that could happen? No, I don't think anyone's going to die just because you posted about your success. So get out there and make sure you do it. Look for evidence. If you've got a fear, if you're really worried that somebody's going to judge you, just look for the evidence. Is anyone judging you now? Are they sitting out there going, oh, I'm just going to wait to see what Sally Latham posts today to see if I can have a go at her? Or what did Kerry Howard say last week? I'm sure she's going to come up with another cracker I can have. Is that actually happening? No. So if it's not happening, then, don't worry about it because it's not actually evidential. Fear stands for false expectations appearing real. So if there's no evidence, chances are it won't happen. There's no such thing as perfect either, guys. And how many times have we done it? We've posted something and then read it back and gone, oh my goodness, I do it all the time. Look at all the spelling mistakes. and I have to go back and update it and change it. It doesn't matter. There's no such thing as perfect. If you wait for the perfect time, you'll never do it. Find your happy place as well. Always helps you, before you hit that enter button, before you send that email off, just find your happy place and go, why am I doing this? Why am I so proud about what I'm doing? What's led me to this? What's my journey, my story? Find that happy place and imagine, just being surrounded by support and love and in a place like you are today amongst friends. Realize your power. Like I said, you've got this superhuman power to overcome your fear center. You can do this. You absolutely got this. And if you think back to some of the hard things that you've done in life and in business and how you survived that and how you can deal with a huge amount of shit that comes your way, then you'll be fine. And then go for it and don't look back. Don't go and review or worry about it. Yes, go and comment when somebody says congratulations, whatever. Go and, celebrate and thank them for their support. But don't rewatch your recordings that you've done. There's so many people I know who go, I'll just watch it before I post it. And then they go, oh, my hair wasn't right, or my shirt looked funny, or I stumbled in that one place, so I have to redo it. It's just not worth it, guys. Record it, write it, do it, get it out there and move on. Don't ever look back and worry about what you're doing. Just be a little bit, there is a caveat with all of this, those guys. Just check, again, what you're doing isn't waftam, a waste of flipping time and money. Again, go back to the purpose. Why am I sharing this? What am I trying to achieve? Who do I want to reach? How do I want to make people feel? What's the outcome I want from sharing my story and my success and my journey? Why am I doing this? And make sure that you've got a purpose behind what you do. And that'll make sure that you're not just posting for the sake of posting. It's not coming from a place of ego. You're not just looking for attention. There's a reason for you being there. So just be a little bit wary that it's not waftam. But other than that, follow those steps and go for it. Overcome the itty bitty shitty committee, and you can do this. So how do we do it? How do you get out there and shine? So we're going to go through these, and please, in the chat box as we go through, pop down any questions. Yeah, absolutely, Kerry. Ignore the rest. The people who could, especially family. Family are the last people to ask, should I do this or not? Absolutely. Ignore them. The number of times I've told my husband not to do certain things in business, it's the times that he's ignored me and done it anyway, and he's been very successful. I won't even let you know what those things are, but I'll just shut up from here on in. So yeah, ignore the judgmental family, because they just want to keep you safe as well. So just be aware that they're probably just using their fear center. So let's start. What sort of success stories should I be sharing? Now, we've had a few, Annette, in the chat box today, and they're a good example, aren't they, of the sorts of success that we should be talking about.
Yeah, look, if you've had a record number of clients sign on, if you've made the finals of award, you've won an award, if you've created a new program, if you've written a book, if you've made the bestsellers list, if your story's been run, I was just on Like-Minded Bitches and someone's story had been picked up by news.com.au. All of those things that maybe for you are part of your day-to-day, but we have to look at the lens of the success stories that we share through the eyes of our target audience. What is going to get you in front of them and get them excited about wanting to work with you or do business with you or buy from you? So, I would challenge you over the weekend as you're sitting, having a cup of tea tomorrow morning or a glass of wine tomorrow afternoon, just to write down some of the things that you've been doing over the last 6 months in terms of building your business. At the moment, there's still a lot of interest in the media for COVID pivot stories. What have you done differently to get through? Did you have, I talked to someone the other day who went from being a banker to creating a product for mums with babies. I was like, oh, how does that work? But, that's a really cool story. What was the thing that motivated you to do that? What drove you to do that? How did you do that? Where did the money come from? All of those things. So what you minimize as a success is quite often embraced by your audience. And I'm going to use myself as an example here. So I won silver in the Australian Entrepreneur Awards for my book. And I posted about, told a bit of, if you follow me at all, you know that I cannot just say one sentence. I've got to say 100 sentences. I've got a lot to say. And I was blown away by the comments and the likes. It was like more than, you know, for this kid who used to hide in the library because she had no friends and she was bullied. It was like, wow, like I just won silver. It wasn't like I won gold, but the comments were, you know, people going like, good on you. How amazing for you to overcome the things that you've overcome. You know, you inspire me. I've been thinking about doing this too. And out of that post, I've had 3 people contact me and say, hey, I'd really like to work with you. Like, imagine if I hadn't have put that up there. So, you know, there's heaps of spelling mistakes because I also write and don't think about what I'm writing and I just pump it out. But that is a success story. You know, that story, you know, we've just been through a whole lot of awards. And, you know, part of this promo was we posted links to articles that people had for their win. So success stories, you're only limited by your imagination.
Yeah, absolutely. And Julia, first international order going to Belgium. Woohoo! What an awesome achievement. Immediately, a Belgium flag needs to go up with a success story. You know, how did you do that? What is it that you're shipping? You know, if you can divulge that. You know, how did you grow your international business like that? What a great story to share.
And I think there's a really good point to make here that, you know, not everything is media worthy. You know, like, let's face it, if you live in a metropolitan area or, you know, like somewhere like Lauren, like, well, I do, like on the Gold Coast, because Lauren left me on the Gold Coast, is, you know, then they don't, most of the mainstream media don't really care if you made the finals. They do care about the story of what drove you to start your business. But Facebook groups, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn are just really powerful platforms that you can get in front of far more people organically than you can, you know, just by maybe writing a blog or sending a message out to your database that you can share your successes with. You can be very visual. You can do a video. You can go into Canva and make a great tile to promote that, because there are people like, and this is what I've learned, you know, in the 8 years I've been in business, far more people are watching than engaging. They're watching you and they're interested in what you're doing. Now, they may not comment and they may not give you a like, but the more that you keep putting yourself out there, the more that you build a relationship with these people, unbeknownst to you, until they message you and go, hey, I've been stalking you for 12 months. And you're like, what? But people want to interact with people who are confident. Like, confident is really sexy. Even if you don't kind of feel confident when you're doing it, I tell you, the more that you do it, the easier it becomes, until you get to the point where it's just like, yeah, I'm going to share this. Sure, people will be excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it can be, maybe you've just come up with the cover for your book, and that's exciting for you, that you've just created the cover artwork. You're really excited about it. My daughter did this the other day, and she shared it on Instagram, and it got a huge amount of engagement with people helping her choose which one of the designs she had. She was really excited about it. And again, my advice to her was, start a pre-order page, start a book pre-ordering page, so that at least when people are engaging with you about that story and they're really interested, you can say, yeah, go and put your name down. I'll let you know when the book's out. You know, so don't wait till something's finished. Even, you know, just little bits of success. It's something that Annette said before, you know, we don't wait until you've done something really momentous. There's the little steps in the journey that you can be celebrating along the way as well.
And I think that's like, what is your definition of success? Because sometimes success is getting out of bed, you know, and sitting in front of my computer when I don't want to. Sometimes it's winning an award. So I think that if we break down and stop thinking of success as being, it's a little bit like when, you know, we all started talking about what's your why. And it's like, well, I want to go sit on top of the mountain and save the world. You know, like, how achievable is that for most of us? But if we just break our day up and look at the successes of those little successes. They don't have to be massive for people to engage and for you to share that with your followers and your audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, you've got your homework now, and I know there's some questions in the chat which are coming up, guys, the answers to those. But your homework for the first question is this next couple of days, write down, go back through the last 6 months and just go through your diary. Just think about what were the successes that you achieved, awards, books, finishing something, starting something, converting clients, you know, anything. Just think about what were the things that you've achieved. And I know there's a challenge for a lot of you in here because you've come up and said, oh, I haven't done anything recently. And I bet there is, if you go and have a look at what you've done. I think especially the women here, I know I'm the same. We have these, I've got to do it today and tomorrow. I forget about what I've done because I'm too busy working on the next step. We need to change that and keep looking at what we're achieving. So go and write down the last 6 months worth of achievements and start thinking about writing stories around those and sharing them. When's the best time to start spreading the news? When's the best time, Annette?
Right now, don't delay. No, actually, you can wait maybe 20 minutes till we finish this webinar. But, you know, I've been watching, people are still promoting their Osmompreneur wins 2 weeks after the fact. So, you know, if you're sitting there going, oh my God, it's too late, then it's not too late. It's the perfect time is right now and when you think of doing it. But ideally, if we're going to be strategic about this, then you have a plan. If you're entering an award, you're writing a book, you're launching a new product, whatever it is that you're doing, that you have a plan. So if you're, you know, but you're writing a book, you know, 6 weeks before your book launches, you know, as Carenza did, you know, put your book cover out there, start generating the buzz so that when it comes time for when you go, oh, I've won, or my book's been published, or this amazing things happen, people are engaged with your story. They've been following along. If you're entering an award, you know, there's a question there about media release templates, is that you send them out at each stage of the journey. You keep your audience informed and engaged about what it is that you're doing. So the best time is when you do it. The worst time is if you procrastinate and make reasons and excuses to not do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's quite, we do it all the time, don't we, Annette? And come November time, you'll see lots of photographs of us in New York when we were there. Because we always remember, it comes up in our news feed of us being in New York at the International Women in Business Awards, and that extraordinary time. I can't wait till we can eventually travel again to do it again. But, you know, those reminders will come up as well. And there's no reason why you can't repurpose it and say, this time last year or this time 5 years ago, I was on stage collecting my award. I'm still so proud of our achievements and so on. So, and we'll talk about that a bit later on with how many times you can share your story. So don't hesitate, guys. And if you can, plan ahead. There's always ways of repurposing what you're doing and finding some relevance and that engagement opportunity. So how do you talk about your success without being big-headed? How do you go out there and talk about those things? And there's also an interesting question here from Fatima as well, and that she's changed industries and her accolades are for a completely different industry. So she needs to figure out how to, you know, leverage those achievements in a new industry. So how do you talk about success, either if you've changed industry or your business has changed or you don't really want it to be all about you?
Oh, that was a lot of different reasons there. Okay, let's start with you don't want to be big-headed. I find the best thing in this is to be yourself. You know, like you can say, you know, I'm totally overwhelmed, or, you know, this, you know, I just didn't believe it had happened. Just be real and authentic and upfront when you're sharing a win. Tell a story about, you know, oh, I really didn't think that I was going to enter this, or I never thought I would do that. Just as if you were sitting down to tell a friend and say, you know, hey, Lauren, guess what? I won an award on whatever day it was. I can't believe it. I'm so excited. And that's where video is really good, because people can hear your tone and they can see your body language and see your expressions, so that they know that you're not sitting there going, oh, I won another award. You know, and it's something that I still worry about, because I post so much about the things that I do that people are going to go, oh, I'm sure there's people rolling their eyes, but I don't care. what was the other question? If you've changed industries,
Mm.
look at how, like, the parallels. Maybe it's a totally different industry, but the thing that's in common is you. Maybe you could talk about your decision to change. Maybe you could talk about, you know, how winning that award encouraged you to think a little bigger or a little bit differently. So I find that if we focus on the thing, so if we're going, I'm going to write about my award, I never write about winning an award. I write about how I felt about that moment. I write about what I was thinking as I was going through the process. I make it human so people can relate to it rather than me just going, oh my God, look at how good I am and you're not, because sometimes that's how people read that. So the best way to talk about your success is to really just be yourself and to wrap it up in a story that people can relate to.
I love it. And the other thing as well, we find, Annette, that works really well is don't make it about you. Make it about the team. Make it about the people that helped you along your journey. I mean, we talk a lot when we coach people for their acceptance award, not to go, I'd like to thank my family and my dog and everybody else on the planet. But when you are promoting your success, there's plenty of time and plenty of room for you to talk about the people who inspired you, the self-motivation, overcoming challenges, you know, as Annette said, all those times where you doubted yourself and how what this award means to you, or what it means to physically hold on to your book, or what it's meant to you to grow your client base. So yeah, and thank those clients for joining you. Thank the people who've been part of your book creation and publishing. So thanking people is a great way to tell a story, and then it's not about you at all.
It's often when we do profile building strategies with people and we come back to them with their editorial calendar and they look and they go, what's that story got to do with my wingity bommy thingity jig? And you're like, well, part of building a profile is making a connection with your prospective audience, and that's called, you know, building that know, like, and trust. And, you know, the like bit's really important. So when you're showing this diverse human being that you are, so like, you know, I've had people have articles about, you know, the favorite gift that they've ever received. That's where the power of leverage comes in, because it shows that you're not just this one-dimensional person that just makes glasses. Is that you have got a family, you've got other interests outside of your business, and that's without getting too personal. But, you know, talking about your success, as Lauren said, by bringing other people into the story, just it shows that rich tapestry of your life, and that you understand that, you know, success really isn't, you know, someone on an island by themselves. It's a group thing. It's a family thing. You know, like, I know I couldn't have the success that I have if it wasn't for the support of my family. If your family doesn't support you, maybe it's a group of friends or your clients, or there's always a way to go and have a look for how can I draw something real into my story that's not just focusing on me.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting, isn't it, and how the brain loves a story, doesn't it? It loves to read about your journey. It's not just, oh, look, you've achieved this success and hooray, and that's it. It wants to know the background. We all want to know, what was the inside story? How did you do that? How did you get there?
Oh, look, and then there's a scientific reason for why the brain likes stories. And I can't remember what it's called now, but I do know that when you're telling a story, both Kerry does.
Kerry always knows.
Kerry
What is
knows.
it, Kerry?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. So the reason is that because when we tell a story, we actually activate the emotional pathways that within our sort of the brain, the amygdala system. So when we tell the story, all of the emotion associated with it actually comes up. And so people engage with that emotional element to it, and it allows us to process stuff. That's why we talk about things that upset us until we keep talking and talking until it stops being an emotional sort of thing. We're telling the story, right?
And it's also that it's a two-way exchange, isn't it, Kerry? So as I'm telling the story, my brain's going off, and as you're receiving the story, your brain's going off, and we create this connection between us.
Especially when you're talking about challenges that we've both had. So if I'm talking about an emotional kind of response I had to a challenge or something that I had to overcome, then your brain triggers into something that's kind of similar, and then we kind of have that meeting around the same feelings, which is why all of the stuff that we're talking about now works, because we're all sharing and validating the fact that we've all felt this way at one point or another, and then how we overcome it. And that's where you get that kind of, you've heard the word synergy, right? So the amalgamation of all of the different inputs actually makes it a much bigger and more positive thing than it would be if it was just two people talking about it, or me thinking about it by myself.
Yeah, that connection, so important. So tell your stories, guys. If you want to talk about your success without big hitting yourself, big noting yourself, standing out and feeling icky about it and thinking I'm in the spotlight, tell your story. Talk about it genuinely and go for it. So where do you share? Where do you share, and what channels are best to get the biggest bang for your buck? And I know Kathy was talking about getting a press release, and often I know with the Stevie Awards, you often get like a standard press release and you just fill in the blanks. So what's the best way to share, and what channels should we be using, Annette?
Well, the channels all come back to where's your audience. So, you know, if no one's reading your newsletters, then you can share it there, but you're not going to get the bang for your buck. So I always go and ask someone, like, where is it that you engage the most with people? Let's go share it there first. But so that's social media, on your page, on your personal page, in Facebook groups. You know, like most Facebook groups have got themes throughout the week, is that you can leverage that baby across multiple Facebook groups, across multiple days, slightly tweak the content a little bit, but you get in front of a larger audience. You want to be sharing it on your website. So most awards will give you a little winner's logo or a finalist emblem that you can put on there, pop that baby on there, and then, you know, link it to a blog where you write about, you know, this was my experience, or, you know, you've written your acceptance speech and you can duplicate that on your website. If you've been given a media release from the awards program, then use it. You know, they've written it for a reason. And there was a question before about where do I send it? The best place to send those type of media releases are to your local media, your local paper, your local radio station. Like if you live in a regional area, you know, ABC Radio is always very supportive of small business, very supportive of women in business. You know, you can send it to that, you know, there's PR distribution sites that you can pop that up on there, which helps with your googleiciousness. If you've got a email newsletter, send it out in your next newsletter, letting people know that you've won. Have a photo of you with your trophy, or a photo of you, whatever it is that, you know, it's a new product or your new book, or just you going like this. You know, I'm sure that'd get you excited if you saw me doing that. As for the biggest bang for your buck, this is where consistency comes in and being persistent, because the biggest bang for your buck will come from leveraging that win or success over time, because we are inundated with so much information that someone might see it and go, oh yeah, that's really cool, I'll come back to that, and get distracted, and then we'll forget. So if you repeat that across multiple challenge, that's my challenge speaking, multiple channels, I still can't say it, then you've got a bigger opportunity to get in front of more people. You know, like all that we're doing, like we're not in business of making products and doing services, we're in the marketing business. Our job is to promote what it is that we do, so we're not the best kept secret. And the best way to do that is make sure that you're prolifically sharing your information. I know some people just went, oh my God, I have trouble writing just one blog. But, you know, social media is such a great channel because it's free and you can get in front of a lot of people, and you can do it repetitively across multiple groups and multiple places. If you get a story published in the article, again, amazing opportunities to repurpose and reuse that content. share the link onto your page, share it into your business page, share it into groups, just that. I guess the key is here, your biggest bang will come from sharing. The more that you share, the more that you put stuff out there, the more opportunities you have of getting noticed and coming to people's attention.
Yeah, I love it. Great tips. And the big thing, as you say, in it, is the long term. It's a long game. It's not instant fame. It doesn't happen, guys. It takes a lot longer. And I love the fact that maybe you've launched a podcast, or you've written a book, or you've written a new blog article. Just take one little bit of that, one little phrase that your guest said on the interview, or one little part, one little tip from your blog, and share that. And as you said, Annette, choosing the right channel. So on LinkedIn, you might talk more about the data behind it, or the methodology behind it. Whereas on Facebook, it's more about the interaction and the people that were part of that process, about winning those clients, or the latest guest you had on your podcast. So choose your channel. Choose what you want to share and where you want to share it, so that you're engaging with the right audience. But it's a long-term process. It's about making sure that you are consistently showing up. Because you said before, Annette, people are watching. They're watching what you're up to, and it's that, and it leads beautifully into that next question that we have. How many times can I tell the same story?
Oh, how
Over
long's
and
a
over and
piece
over
of
again.
string? How long's a piece of string? Because you may have that one story, and this is the beauty of repurposing, is that you may have that one media release, or that one blog, or that one article that you wrote, but out of that you can pull, as Lauren said, pull key quotes out of it, pull little thoughts that you've, as you look back and reflect on it, you could say, hey, I saw this post that, just saw one from 2 years ago of me with Belinda Jane Dolan and Rhonda Habblery over in Perth at a conference where we, all three of us, won an award, and that photo's come up, and it's like, you can guarantee people you'll be seeing that photo, and, War and Peace from me, reflecting on that time, what I learned out of the experience. So, you can have, I always say to people, like, if you can come up with 4 topics a month around, promoting, publicizing and sharing what's going on in your business, you've got over 40 to 60 additional pieces that you can create in your business. And it's called repurposing. Canva is great for you to do that. So never just go, oh, well, I've shared the story of my award win. It's like, there's so many things through that. It's like, what did you learn about it? Like, you could do a review of the people who were the finalists in the category and talk about, how what you've learned from them through the process. You can promote the actual awards themselves and the community that they've created, but it still keeps pointing back to your story. So it's just about, like, looking through the black and white to see the grey, because there is a lot of grey there that you can pull out.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Pat's quite clearly said, we get tired of it before others do. It's absolutely true. We're almost too close to it, aren't we, Pat? Often, we need to step back and realise that there's a lot of other noise out there. We might have to live with ourselves 24 hours a day, but other people don't, and they don't seem to get as bored of us as we do. So, and I like that, Annette, that, it's about repurposing it because you want to, because you've got a reason for doing it, a story, a feeling, an emotion, a memory, and that can be anything. So maybe a bit of homework, if you're going back through your 6 months of what you've been doing and what successes you've got, is write down next to each one of them, how could you tell a story about that? How could you repurpose it? What's a quote or an image or a meme or something that you remember about that, a feeling or something that you can use to repurpose that success that you might have had 6 months ago, and share it and get out there. So add that to your homework to think about, okay, how can I tell the story about that? And then how can I repurpose it? And I love, we talked about this even before coming on today. We do all this promotion, don't we? When you're launching a book or running a program or starting a podcast, you do all this promotion leading up to it to try to get people to listen and to be engaged. You then do the thing, win the award, write the book, have the podcast, have the event, and then we forget about it. You don't tell anybody how it went. How often do you see lots and lots of promotion for events, but then afterwards you never see hey, congratulations to the people who came along. Here's how my book launch went. It just doesn't happen. So make sure that you are actually putting into your marketing plan to be repurposing and retelling those stories, and how many different ways to do it and map it out. So what do we do? Now that we've got our stories, we've got our successes, we've planned them all out, we're ready to go. How do we get media attention and engagement around those things, Annette?
Take off your clothes. No, don't do that. That would get attention. Look, and again, this is about persistence and being consistent, because, again, there's so many stories out there, and there's so many media outlets now, particularly with online digital publications, that you've got to keep following up. So to get media attention is one, you've got to have a good angle. So, the best way to understand that is, if you're pitching to a certain publication, actually go and read it first and hang out there for a week and see, well, what type of stories do they like? What's the style that they like their content written in? So if you were pitching something to Mamma Mia, you would probably write it in first person. The 10 things that I learned by, the 10 things I learned about when I published my book. It's not all about me, that it's good to have support, stuff like that. So yeah, get to know them first. It's like any relationship, the media appreciate it when you understand what they're looking for. Write a really good press release or a pitch. You often don't even have to write a media release these days, because you put all that time and effort in. It's just, it can be good enough to send an email, hey, Lauren, got this great story about this, and this. This is what happened. This is when it happened. I'm going to give you a ring tomorrow and follow up to see if you'd like some more information, or if you're interested in the story. And then follow up. Did I say follow up? Because so many times people will go, oh, PR's just not worth it. I sent a media release to so-and-so and I never heard back from them. And I go, oh, cool. Okay, well, did you follow them up? No. If they're interested, they would have gotten back to me. No, bullshit. That's such bullshit, because the reason why is because there's so many reasons why they didn't see your media release. Okay, one, it could be a really boring story that doesn't suit their audience, but they could have been on holidays. It could have gone into spam. They could do what I do all the time and look at the email and go, got to get back to that one, read it, and it disappears. So make sure that you follow up. That's what gets stories over the line, because the media now, particularly mainstream media, their numbers are dwindling, because all the old school journos are taking redundancies, and there's one person doing 3 or 4 different jobs. So make sure that you follow up with them. And there you go. Kerry said, I followed up with a journalist. We all forget. Like, I have got stories over the line 3 months down the track, because I just do not give up. And we live in a different world now. Journalists are a little bit younger, and they've got a different way of communicating, and they often don't get back to you. And it's frustrating, particularly, when you're over 40 or 50, like most of us are. And it's like, well, my mum taught me to acknowledge people's messages. So if you can understand that, and as Kerry said, it's got to be in the moment. So if you follow them back up and you're following what type of stories they do, you've got a better chance. But media attention now is not just about mainstream media. It's also about like syndicating, and paid media. Sometimes you can pay to make sure that your story gets in front of people. There's lots of online publications that you can pay to be a contributor, and ensure that every month you've got a story going out there. And these publications work really hard on their domain authority so that it still benefits you. So there's lots of little ways that you can do that, but it just all comes down to persistence.
And that leads beautifully into what we have for everyone today. So there's lots of things we talked about today that we can help you with. If you go to our website, our resources page has the award-winning workbook, which gives you all the leverage if you've won awards and what to do. It's like checklists, acceptance speeches, how to leverage it for your marketing, how to write a press release around it. It's all on our website under resources, the award-winning workbook. There's the marketing action planner on there that helps you plan out your promotions for the next 12 months. There's the media magnet method workbook of Annette's, which has got all the templates for how to write press releases, how to contact the media, how to follow up, how to pitch. It's all on there. If you want to go to the resources page of our website, you can do that. But there's also a publicity syndication service that we have. And this is something that a lot of our successful clients have been using with great effect. So this is basically a package where we write you a media release and we upload that release after you've approved it, of course, with an image up into the media sites, those paid media sites that Annette was just talking about, the likes of Fox and CBS, etc. There's an option on there if you want us to personalize the release and actually pitch it to a wider audience of media, we can do that as well. But you get the media leveraging workbook regardless, and that helps you to leverage your wins, leveraging that media coverage that you get so you know what you're doing. And you can go to our website to find out about those publicity packages. I've just put the link in the chat box as well. But this is the sort of thing you can do with it. You can leverage it by then showing images of your business or yourself or you with your book or your award. You can put those logos on them. You can share those on social media, you know, as featured in, as seen in, and you can use those images, those media logos to really gather you some credibility, branding by association. And of course, you then add that to your website. So this is just off of our website. This is an example of what we've taken of Annette and myself in the media, the logos. You put a link on there on your website when you've got that media win, and that helps you with your SEO, because now you've not only got Google's news feed coming up with the Fox or CBS story or whatever it is, you've also got your website backlinking to it. So this is making you even more googleicious, which is cool. So you can share so the first things first, get your story syndicated. It goes up on the news feed. You've then got the repurposing of that in social media, then put it on your website, and away you go, and keep repurposing those stories to give you that credibility. And this is the packages that we've got, guys. There's 3 different levels. Gold, silver, and bronze, completely up to you. Bronze is the basic, write you the press release and upload it, and away you go. You get the media leveraging book, and you're away you go. You're off and away. You know, use it and repurpose it as much as you can. So if you've won an award, you've written a book, you've launched a podcast, you've won clients, you've got an amazing program, there's something that you've done, we can guarantee you some media coverage on those platforms through one of the programs that we have. Silver's a little bit more. We look at a couple of other places we can put you, and we also pitch it out to targeted media. And then gold, it's a bit more personalized, and we actually pitch that out to other media as well and give you a media contact list. So you can do that following up that Annette said is so very vital. And if you use the coupon code, and you might want to make a note of that, guys, media20. If you use that coupon code when you go to buy one of those packages, the gold, silver, or bronze, on our publicity page, you'll get 20% off, just as a thank you for coming along to the webinar today. So that should give you no excuses to get yourself out there. A press release professionally written for you, guaranteed media coverage, and then you can absolutely leverage the pants off that. And that coupon code is valid until the end of September. So make sure you get in there and book those in. Amanda, can I use the 60 Minutes logo for a 1992 story? Why not? Of course you can.
Were you in this story? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, ideally, if the story is still available somewhere, I doubt it, but maybe you've got a clipping, then put scan the clipping from the paper or whatever you were in, or the 60 Minutes logo or something that maybe there was something that you have, a transcript, put that on your website and direct people to go and read it or listen to it or watch it on your website as well. Kerry, it does take a lot of time to manage ongoing. Absolutely. Staff member who does your marketing is a great idea, Kerry. Unbelievable how much you content. I find if people are using this tool, Kerry, the Most Audacious Marketing Action Planner that you'll find on our website and our resources page, it's a really, really helpful tool for you to map out your marketing for the next 12 months. And you then give that to your VA or to your office administrator and say, there you go. It's got all the months in here. You decide what your content's going to be. You tell them what you want them to do every week, and away you go. Pass it over, and somebody else implements it for you. So you can grab that one off of the resources page as well. Kerry, if a person is partner and gave them a percent to promote me, oh, what a great idea. Yeah, great idea to do it that way. Give them a percentage to promote you. Fabulous. Great idea. So guys, the last thing we want to share with you, if everyone got that now, they've got the link to the publicity page and the coupon code. Before I get off this slide, Media20 will get you that discount. We really just want to leave you with this, is you do deserve it, guys. You've worked really hard to get where you are. Being in business is not easy, especially if you're a solopreneur or a mumpreneur, or you're starting out a new business, or you're trying to create an impact or lead a movement, or you're doing something for that amazing part of your community, you're growing a tribe. It is hard work, and you're doing amazing things. So you do deserve it. You deserve the accolades. You deserve to be well known, well paid, and wanted for what you do. You deserve to be seen and noticed. So make sure you get out there and do it. So I'm going to stop sharing. We've got about 2 minutes left before I close the webinar off. If there's any other questions, please pop them in the chat or unmute yourselves so that we can answer your questions and help you with anything. Any other thoughts around maybe how you can promote and market yourselves? Anyone got any questions around maybe something that they are thinking about promoting and they're not sure how to do it? Or any other questions about how to get out there, how to get media coverage and so on? I know, Paul, it's interesting with what you're doing. It's certainly getting in the wellness industry. There's so much noise. But finding the right places to post so that people interact with you. You've got such a great story. It's really a case of getting people to follow you, which is really cool. Julia, how do you go about getting media coverage internationally? What a great question.
Well,
Put it on international sites, I would say.
Yeah, the same principles apply. Is like if you want to be individual about your pitch, go to the site of the media outlet. You can just Google US newspapers or California newspapers or whatever region, and most of them have got their contact details there, or a contact form that you can message them and say they'll either have an opportunity to go pitch a story, or message them and say, hey, I'd like to have a contact detail for someone for this story. Same principles. You can use something like the PR syndication services to get that internationally, because they do go to everywhere else in the world. They go to Australia too, but they do go to the US, the UK, Asia, and European publications. And podcasts, I think, are another really great way to get international exposure. There's some really great groups. If you type in podcast guests into Facebook, there's a couple of really proactive, engaged groups in Facebook looking for people looking for podcast guests. Post into Facebook groups and say, hey, I'm looking for a journalist in this country, or I want to be in a podcast, so this is what I've got to talk about. And I think, so for you, Julie, you do the ultrasound artwork, don't you? If I remember correctly. I can't see you, but you nodding your head. Did I get that right? Then there's, particularly in America, there's just so many parenting and kid publications that you could promote that to. So Google is your friend.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Weekly Rocket too, guys. We often post opportunities in the Weekly Rocket that are international podcasts, summits, great ways to get your name and your brand out there. And it's free, and it comes out every Wednesday. So definitely, and I know Pat's had lots of success with the Weekly Rocket as well, and a number of others, which is really cool. Amanda, do I post the logo or the site link? If there's no link, if it was 1992 and the link to your story no longer exists, it might have been archived, I just put the logo on there because it's credibility and branding by association. But if you have the transcript or a recording of it and you can put that up on one of your pages, maybe make it part of a blog, I would put the logo on your homepage and link it to the blog with the story about when you appeared on 60 Minutes. So that they can see you actually did appear on 60 Minutes. So if the site's no longer has the link to your interview, then that's the way that I would handle it. Awesome, guys. Well, look, thank you everybody for being here. It's been great to see everybody. I hope we've answered all your questions, but more importantly, I hope we've given you the motivation and the inspiration and the gumption to get out there and be seen and be noticed. No longer hiding under a cloud somewhere or under a rock. We want you out there. We want the publicity, the lights to shine on you full on so that you can get what you want in life and in business. So make sure you get out there, guys. The replay will be available for you to go back and have a look at that. Jump into our publicity packages. If you have won awards, written a book, got a podcast, doing amazing things, and you simply don't have time to get out there and leverage it, let us help you do it with you. Get that press release done and out there, and then you can leverage the fact that you've now not just become an award winner or an author or a podcast host, you've now become a media guest as well. And make sure you get out there and do it. Thank you, Annette, for helping today. Your amazing time and skills. Absolutely.
I'm a good helper.
Hours, probably. And your knowledge is just, it's been wonderful to be able to dig into your PR knowledge. It's been great. So thank you so much, everybody. And we will see you in the next masterclass that we run. It's been awesome to see you. Take care, have fun, and remember to get out there. You are your own best marketing machine. Get out there and do it. Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye.